Hey everybody, today's tutorial is on combining text in Excel, also known as text concatenation. So I'll walk you through a couple simple examples so that you can master combining text from multiple cells into one cell, and then stick around until the end of the video to see this example of text concatenation to create dynamic text in an interactive dashboard. Let's get started. So I want to combine our first names here with our last names to create full names. And there are two very easy ways to do this. First is with the ampersand. So I can say equals the reference to our first name, ampersand, and then I don't just want to squash our two names together here. I want to separate them with a space. So to add in my own custom text, I can open quotation marks, my custom text, which is just a space, close quotations, and now I need to concatenate it in the last name as well. So another ampersand, reference to the last name. And now what our formula is basically saying is first name plus space plus last name. We can go ahead and hit enter, and we have our output nicely copied down because our data is in a table. So take one last look at that formula there, and then I'm going to clear this column so we can look at the second easy way to do this, which is with the TEXTJOIN function. So the delimiter is the text that will separate each cell that you pass through the function to combine. So I want to separate these cells with a space, again in quotation marks because it is text. We don't have to worry about ignore empty because we don't have any empty cells in the table, so we can skip that. And now we just have to select the text that we want to combine. So select our two names, close parentheses, hit enter, and we get our exact same output. So the ampersand is actually more flexible than TEXTJOIN because you can pass any custom text you want in between your cells, whereas TEXTJOIN will use the exact same delimiter. So next, let's look at an example where the ampersand is clearly the better option for combining text. So let's use text concatenation and the cell references to the names we have up here to recreate this sentence here. So if I try to use the TEXTJOIN function, even if I play with the delimiter and I change it to something like used, it'll work for the first part of the sentence, but it's going to input used between every other gap in between our cells. So we want something more flexible, so let's delete that and instead use ampersands. So the way we'll do this is equals, then our reference to John, ampersand, now our first part of custom text. So open quotes, a space so it's not smushed together, and then used, ampersand, reference to Emily, another ampersand, and this time we don't want a space because we want to add in our apostrophe S. So we have our apostrophe S, phone, to call, have our space, close quotation marks, ampersand, Nathan, and then finally I want to add in our period on the end. So another ampersand, and then a period. And there's our output. So now let's look at an example where TEXTJOIN is clearly the better option. So now I want to create an email list for each one of our clients here, separated by semicolons so that we can copy paste that list into an email to send information out to all of the client's contacts at once. And we could use ampersands, but the reason I'd rather not is as follows. So firstly, I've already written out the formula up above here to save you the time, but you can tell right away that this is very tedious. So we have to concatenate each contact together individually, and we don't really want to have to write all that out. And secondly, if we run this, we can see a problem immediately right here. So not all of our clients have all 5 contacts filled in. And the result is we're going to get these annoying blanks in between semicolons. So to fix that problem, let's go ahead and delete this and use TEXTJOIN instead. So the delimiter is going to be a semicolon followed by a space. We definitely want to ignore empty cells so we don't have those blanks in our output. So that will be true. And then the really nice thing about TEXTJOIN is we don't have to do all this manually and individually. So we can select all of the cells we want to join at once, close parentheses, and there's our output. And just in case our table changes, and let's say we lose one of our contacts, no problem for the TEXTJOIN function. And lastly, in this simple interactive dashboard I've built here, I want to make sure that the text in this column header as well as our title is dynamic rather than static. So it should change depending on what we select in our drop downs. So the cell link to our drop downs here is in our keys sheet, and it's in these yellow filled cells. So let's make sure we make these dynamic. So we'll use the ampersand to do this. So we'll put this custom text in quotation marks, use the ampersand, delete this static text, and add in the cell reference here in I2. We can hit enter, and now this will dynamically update. So let's do the same thing for our title text here with the score as well as the other drop down for the student demographic category. So let's go ahead and clean this up. So our average, quotation marks there, use the ampersand. We can delete this part, leave the S because we want it to be plural, and let's link that to the math score here. Cell, another ampersand, quotation marks, add in that custom text, another ampersand, and let's delete this static text and replace that with the input here for the category selection. Hit enter, and now let's make sure this will dynamically update, which it does. So that's the end of the video tutorial today. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel for a lot more of this content going forward. And as always, thanks for watching.